Welcome back to the Patient First podcast. I'm super excited, as I usually am, doing these podcasts, but today the reason why is because our first cohort of the Insanely Productive Dentist, or IPD as we call it over here at Upgrade Dental, is about 3/4 of the way through the program. So we've been through the first three stages. Number one is the Insanely Productive Dentist. You, if you're a dentist watching today, it's how you can become insanely productive personally, mentally, and also productively. Two is the insanely productive operatory. So, where we actually produce our great work. How do we make our operatory set up for success? How do we prep teeth, frankly, to be highest level of efficiency and quality combined? And then the third stage is the insanely productive office. But every single, and the fourth stage I should mention is the insanely productive team, which is what we're going to be talking about today because we're 3/4 of the way through our first cohort, like I said, of IPD, the insanely productive dentist. And now we've actually made it so you can join at any time, which is very fun. You'll have a cohort that you're part of whenever you sign up for IPD. There'll be a link around this video if you're interested, but it's a great series. And one of the fun things I do that I'm going to keep doing for a while because it's so much fun is every single month we just have a live Q&A as part of IPD where maybe many of you have been on those or they've been well attended. Or if you haven't and you want to, there'll be one coming up as part of every IPD member is invited. And sometimes we invite some people who are part of Upgrade too. But because I do these live Q&As every single month, I am getting some really, really good questions. And so, of course, you know what's coming. It's another in our ongoing series, Ask Me Anything. So this was a question that a dentist brought up as part of IPD that because they've only been through the first three stages, remember? And so they actually asked a question that I answer in detail in stage 4 in the insanely productive team. However, this is a very specific question that I wanted to address because I think a lot of people might be thinking like this today. You might have this question in your mind, and if you haven't now, you probably will in some degree over the next couple of years. And that question was, should I rehire someone who left? Now, in this case, the specific position was an assistant. Now, that's tempting, right? If you have a new assistant, let's say you had a dental assistant that left and said, you know what, you're not paying me enough. I'm going to go to the office next door. And then you hire a new assistant and they're not as good as assisting you as that one that left. It's going to be so tempting to hire that person back, right? Your right hand who's worked easier than anybody else to work with and now they want to come back. The temptation to rehire them is so strong. But get this, the second part of this dentist question was this: should I pay her? It was a female in this case. Should I pay her more so that she doesn't leave again? Ooh, now it's getting interesting, right? So this person wants to hire this person so bad back that they're thinking, I want to pay her so much that she'll never even think of leaving again. So, what's the response, right? So, this is the ask me anything. So let's get right into it. What my thoughts were. Should you welcome this person back? And the answer is a big, big, disappointing maybe, right? Because it comes down to what are the circumstances that she left in the first place. In this case, it was pay. At least that's what this dentist said in their question. So then the question is, were you underpaying the assistant in the first place? If so, again, look in the mirror. You shouldn't be underpaying people, right? We want to be paying, I would recommend above the 70th percentile to have a great team. If you want to have a great team, which you're not here at the Patient First podcast because you want to play small. This is not the minor leagues that we're doing, right? If you're part of the Insanely Productive Dentist series, we're not looking to 2x, we're looking to 10x, right? We're looking to have really big growth, get you out of your rut and grow to massive, right? So this dentist may have been underpaying when she left. So if she went to another place, and by the way, the dentist also stated that this assistant wanted to come back because of the culture wasn't a good fit at the new place, and she loved the culture when she left. So in this specific case, I would say you have to say, were you underpaying here? And it sounds like the answer is yes, because the second part of the question, should I pay her so much she doesn't leave again? Well, you should pay everybody well enough so they don't want to leave. But that doesn't mean you pay way out of market rate. We've talked before about it on this podcast, but the Ritz-Carlton doesn't pay more than the Hilton Hotel. They just select better people and treat them better. They don't pay them more, right? We want soldiers, not mercenaries. We want people down for the cause. And she's coming back for the right reason. She wants to be a part of the team, right? So the next question is, should you pay her more not to leave? Well, again, it's related. Were you underpaying her before? If so, pay her what she should be paid, regardless of position. Ultimately, this seemingly complicated question is easy. You want to look at the roles on your team as if it's a high performance team. Now, I know what people are thinking that know football. So I'm from Minnesota. Are the Vikings a high performance team? I don't know. There's really high performance at making people who love them, like myself, disappointed every year. But hopefully they'll make it some year. But if you want to have a high performance team, you should be looking at these roles and going, who on my team is who's the best player for that position in my office at the time? If it's her, great. If you underpaid her, pay her what you should pay her. Should you pay her more than anybody else ever got paid as a dental assistant? No. Just pay her what she deserves to be paid. And by the way, if she wants more money, she should come to you and say, oh, I think I can make the office more. And I want, if I do this initiative, great. The sky's the limit. You can make as much as you want, but it has to, there has to be a positive ROI. And by the way, again, just pay what people are worth today, which is changing all the time. So we have to keep up with it. But it doesn't have to be some wacky, crazy number to get the right person there. She's coming back for the right cultural fit, which is the right reason. She probably left because you underpaid her, and if that's the case, then she left for the right reason. And if she's coming back, just pay her what she's worth, which is at the higher end, what a high performance team player makes as part of a team, right? It doesn't have to be out of whack, crazy numbers, just what they're worth. And so it's a bit of a complicated answer to this sort of complicated question, but it's really simple. It's just, how much does that person, regardless of who that person is, demand a salary for that role? And if they're at the top end, you pay them at the top end. It's not that complicated. And there's one more piece to this that I think we cannot talk about this question without addressing. And because the second part of this question, they ask, should we pay them so that they never are tempted to leave again? To me, at its core, has one issue that we in dentistry, when we're bringing on team members, need to stop thinking, right? And that is that this person will be with me for the rest of my career. Keep in mind, everything is temporary. You have a life outside your practice. This team member has a life outside your practice. We want to work with people, great people forever, but that they don't need to be the same people. If you have a team member leave, there'll be somebody else that you can replace them with. And the same thing is true with you and your practice. Everybody is replaceable. And there's times when it just makes sense to move on. Either you want to move on or they want to move on. And that, by the way, is okay. If you work with a great person for 25 years, that should absolutely be celebrated. But when you're bringing somebody else back and you're rehiring them, it's a reversible decision. And you should look at it that way, not looking at it like this is an irreversible decision that I never want her to leave and I never want her to leave too, right? Let's work together. Let's do great dentistry. Let's be part of a great team. But if one of us is dropping the ball too much, that's okay. We can move on. Or if you move to Oklahoma and I'm in Minnesota, great. I wish you the best of luck. It doesn't need to be a permanent decision. This is reversible. So hopefully that helps you. I thought it was a great question, and the perspective, I think a lot of times when people ask great questions, there's a subtext of what they're really looking at that I think has to be addressed. And in this case, it's that hiring and rehiring, it's a reversible decision. Thank you very much, and I look forward to talking with you again on the Patient First Podcast.